Chapter 105. Adam's speech on the nature of Satan and the love of women. After Adam's speech, also Adam, following his secret bidding, stepped up to Horadel and said, "Horadel, rise according to the will of Jehovah, and listen to me." And Horadel stood up. But Adam continued speaking and said, "Look, in your veins and in those of the people subject to you, as well as in the veins of all my children on the heights, there flows only my blood, since I was placed on this earth as the first complete man, as well as my wife, going forth from me as the original mother of all now living men. Men shall have only one father and one mother in physical respect, just as there is one God only, one Creator, and one infinite, eternal Holy Father spiritually. Since I was in a physical sense set as the first man and thus the father of all humankind, you can imagine the magnitude of your blasphemy when you called me a monster. And God, the most holy and most loving Father, the almighty Creator of all things, an old, weak, worm-eaten God, how come that all Cain's descendants sank into such blindness and, finally, complete depravity? Behold, listen, and understand. When Cain, my firstborn son, from sheer jealousy slew his brother Abel, to which action he was seduced by the evil serpent, meaning Satan or the fallen one, who is dwelling in every man's flesh as well as in all matter. He was judged by God and was restless day and night. The earth became too small for him, and the vault of the firmament too low, so much so that he could hardly draw another free breath. He sighed and wept mightily, and in his great rage declared eternal war on the serpent. Thereupon the serpent visited him in a zealous endeavour to win him over again. But Cain saw that he had become a master of the serpent, for it could not get at him even in the disguise of a brother. Since the serpent had long ago found out that Cain is of a very weak flesh, it promptly assumed the form of a very beautiful woman, and approached with the shyness of a virgin, the weak one, who was unable to turn his eyes away from the enticing forms of the false creature. Only too late did he realize what kind of trap the serpent had laid for him, so that with his own mouth he gave it the testimony which still lives on in all his descendants, namely, that it would in time conquer all his children, as well as God's children. Can you now see where you are in spirit? Look, this is the terrible obstacle which has been the downfall of all of you. According to the testimony, you have become servants of the flesh, which has enticed not only Cain and myself, but also all of you. The serpent has endowed your daughters with the most beautiful flesh, which no one can resist. Therefore you have introduced polygamy, contravening the divine order according to which I was destined to be one man and Eve one woman, through the endless love and strength of the one who is still among us and who just enjoined on you 3 times love. Because all love of the flesh shall pass into the life of the soul, and thus in turn into the spirit, so that all the activated love of the flesh, uniting in the spirit with that of the soul, will pass from the spirit into God. How can you possibly achieve this with your polygamy? By remaining in the clutches of the flesh, will you not also remain blasphemers as truly as you came to these hallowed heights? 4. Since the divine order endows man with only one wife, so that in this single conflict he may find it easier to vanquish the enemy arising from the lust of Cain. How do you ever want to fully triumph over the worst enemy if you throw yourselves wholeheartedly into his plump arms? Therefore, do renounce polygamy and revert to the old order of God, and you will then be able to fully conquer death, which, as a most poisonous serpent, dwells in your flesh as the old Satan, who in me did not want to turn back, but divorced himself from me in the flesh, and is now indulging himself in all flesh, an ancient prince of all falsehood. Heed this well, Horadel, if you want to attain victoriously to the true life. So take also this revelation together with my blessing, with you to the land which the Lord has destined for you. And the 3 holy words will bring you life, but otherwise eternal death. Do understand it well. Amen.